I don't need loving, late night, coughing. Take it all off, you naughty. Put it back on and pause it. Kitchen, island, bedroom, closet. Taking it elsewhere, maybe. We know we both got options. I know you faded, boy. I feel it wearing off when it get hand and coke. I like the way you talk, yeah. I couldn't give a fuck, giving up paranoia. He don't wanna smash on tour, fucking for the new velour. I like it when you're with me all night. I can't imagine what you might try. Yeah, you so full of surprises. Guess you one of my vices. You wanna pick your fence and I'll wipe. You never change your mind when I cry. Yeah, I see your flies and you know it. Dropping your jaw when the dries at the floor. I don't need loving, late night, coughing. Take it all off, you naughty.
That's a new workout that you haven't seen before. It's kind of a first here as I just revisited my whole program, changed everything, especially my leg day structure, which is completely different now with a quads focused leg day, a hamstrings focused leg day, and a glute focused leg day. So I'm basically training legs 3 times per week, but with a focus for each session. And this session is my glute focus leg day. So I'm still and will always start a session with a leg curl, in this case a prone leg curl. I used to do a lot of seated leg curl. I used to do a majority of seated leg curl, but for this program I'm doing more of a prone leg curl than seated leg curl. I just went back on this machine and I really like it. I feel it very well. So I've just been back on it. It works really well for me. So I put it back in my program and that's my first exercise. So for this session, I'm doing only 2 sets of 10 reps. It's just a good stimulus for the hamstrings, but it's not a hamstrings focus session. So I'm doing only 2 sets, which is plenty because I'm going to failure. And 10 reps, middle of the range. Just pretty quick and simple. Always a good control of the movement, always full range of motion. And on the prime machine, I'm setting it on 5. So it's harder when I'm stretched and it's easier. There is less resistance when my hamstrings are contracting. So it's just matching the resistance curve of the machine with the strength curve of the muscle, because a stretched muscle is a strong muscle. The capacity to produce force is a lot higher than when the muscle is contracted. So you have a weak muscle when they're contracted. So it makes sense, especially on this kind of prime machine where you can adjust the resistance to match the resistance curve with the strength curve. So this is what I did, and then I jumped on my first glute exercise. So it was a hip thrust, of course, the best exercise you can do for the glutes. So I did 2 sets of 10 reps again, which is working well for me at the moment because I'm just using less load, so it's a bit less taxing nervously, and I'm not doing more than 10 because more than 10 is just too many reps and I don't have the glycogen storage available for that. So I'm just thinking about usually 8 to 12 reps for my workouts at the moment, and every single exercise is kind of in between those reps. But yeah, I just did 10 reps, 2 sets with a second pause at the top, because it's the only exercise where you can actually work the glutes when they are contracted with a full tension and the most amount of tension at this point of the movement, compared to squats and everything like that where you have the most tension when the glutes are stretched. On this exercise, and it's the only one where you can have this kind of tension at the top when the glutes are contracted. So I'm taking advantage of it and I'm emphasizing that tension at the top with a pause. So yeah, just a second pause. Previous program I did 2 seconds, but for variation purposes I'm doing only 1 second this time around, and more reps, so 10 reps. So yeah, hip thrust, perfect exercise for the glutes. I think it works super well. It's my favorite one for the glutes. It's a very good isolation one, even though yes, there is a slight degree of spinal erector work, of quad work, a bit of hamstring sometimes, but it's very minimal and it's mostly glutes. So that works super well to develop the glutes and have like a big, let's say, big movement to progress on for the glutes, like you would do a squat or a leg press for legs. Hip thrust is the same kind of exercise for the glutes, but it still isolates a lot the glutes compared to a squat or a leg press where you also have a lot of quads. On this one, it's 90% glutes. So it's a very good exercise, especially with a barbell. I'm really not a fan of machines. Some are all right, but I never found a very good machine. There is always something limiting me. So yeah, I'm not a fan of glute machine. I think nothing beats barbell hip thrust. So you can adjust it the way you want. You can do it whenever you want, wherever you want, and it always works super well. So it's a great exercise. I would strongly advise you to do so for your glutes development. And then I jumped on the leg press. So that's a mix of, as I said, quads and glutes. I'm doing it one leg at a time, so unilateral leg press, just because I can isolate a leg at a time, so there is not one compensating for the other, for example. And also I can position myself to have even more range of motion, even though I'm always getting all the way down when I'm doing it bilaterally. When I'm doing it unilaterally, I can really go like 2 centimeters deeper, just because I can angle myself a way that I can go a bit deeper. And it's more stretch for the glutes this way, and I can focus on one leg at a time, so I don't have any imbalances from one leg to the other. So that's a really good exercise. I love this exercise, and so far so good. It has been 4 weeks that I'm doing it, and my knees are still fine. They actually get better and better. They are like less and less painful, and I've been able to regain strength and muscle mass at a nice pace. Like I started this program with 50 kilo on the leg press, and now like a few days ago I did it with 80 kilograms. So it's 30 kilograms added in 4 weeks. So it really showed that my knees are just doing so much better. I did it with very minimal discomfort. My knee was absolutely fine. It felt great. And I regained a lot of strength. So progressing really well. I'm really happy with that, especially because I've been struggling a lot with my knees in the past few months. During almost big part of this prep has been struggling with my knees. But it's getting a lot better now, and I actually can regain a lot of strength and progress on quads, which makes me very happy. So that's what I've done for quads and glutes. And then I'm doing a glute isolation on the cable, so cable kickbacks. So this one is also again isolation, but unilateral, so it's one glute at a time. I like it. I think it's really nice. I get a good connection now because I've been doing it for weeks and weeks. So I actually developed a pretty good mind muscle connection on this exercise. And I think that's good to finish off glute work. So for my glutes, I had hip thrust as a main movement where I can lift heavy weights and progress on it. And then I had unilateral leg press where my glutes are also going to work a lot, especially with the range of motion. And then finishing out the glutes with cable kickbacks. So I like doing it like that, holding myself on the cable like that. It just works super well, and I can get a good stretch on the glutes too. So I like it. And with a stepper, my foot is not hitting the floor, so I can actually have a very good range of motion and not be like disturbed or worried with my foot hitting the floor. So this setup works super well. If you want to try, do it, it works. And then I'm just finishing with adduction, abduction, and abs. So just adductor work and then abduction, which is hard to work. Like you work a bit your gluteus medius and minimus on the hip thrust and on the cable kickback, but it's not really as good as using the abduction machine. So yeah, I like this machine. I'm angling myself like that because it works well for the Prime machine. It's kind of the best machine we have at Ultraflex for adduction and abduction. We have another one that is actually all right, but it's too light. It's way too light, and then people put a gym pin on it to put some discs on it on the stack, and then it breaks every week. So I'm not using it. I'm only using the Prime machine, but I feel it's so much better when I'm angling my upper body like forward instead of being seated normally on the seat. So yeah, that's what I've done for my glutes and glute-focused legs. And it was a lovely session and it's still going very well. So let's hope it continues this way and I can, regain my strength on my quads, regain some muscle mass, and also, develop my glutes in the process. So yeah, very good session. Let's do a little recap of the cut so far. So I'm saying cut and not prep because it's not a prep anymore. I'm just cutting. I'm not going to compete this year because I hate how I look. I think that's my best reason why. Also, of course, because of my knees being really bad. So I lost a lot of leg size, which really hurts me. Like it's so frustrating, and yeah. Anyway, I'll go and talk about that later. So I just thought, because I was working on my check-in and my check-in sheet and with all the data and stuff. So I thought it would be nice to just do a little recap because it has been 13 weeks. Yeah, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, I'm in my 14th week now. So I'm day 2 of week 14 of cutting. So I started my cut, so ended off season with 5,200 calories and starting my cut with 4,000 calories. So it was a 1,200 calorie drop to start with. Because I couldn't eat anymore, like my appetite was below 0. So I had to do a very big cut in calories so I could feel a bit better already. So I started my cut at 4,000 and I dropped my calories this week. So now I'm at 3,200. So it's only 800 calories dropped for the past 14 weeks. Which is not a lot, so I'm happy with that. I didn't have to do much more than that because I was losing weight at a very good pace. So talking about that, transition to my weight, my heaviest when I ended off season was 96.75. So almost 97 kilograms. And now I'm at 80 kilo. So it's about 17 kilo lost in 14 weeks, which is a very fast pace for a fat loss. It's about, at first I lost a lot of weight very quickly because of course, like dropping my food that much, I was eating a lot less. So just the quantity, like the amount of food I was eating, only that of course to drop weight. A lot of inflammation, a lot of water retention, all that dropped. So at first I lost a lot of weight, like 2 kilo, like a lot per week, like 2 kilo, 1.6 kilo, 1.5 kilo per week. So I was dropping really quickly at first. And then it was, about, let's say, a kilo per week since then. So it's about that. Some weeks I'm not really losing, like, for example, at one point I was just maintaining for 2 weeks. So no real like drop in 2 weeks, but then it dropped again. So it's not perfectly linear. No fat loss is perfectly linear, but it's about, let's say, 1 kilo per week, at least for the past few weeks it has been like that. So about a kilo loss per week, which is still a very fast pace because it's it's more than 1% my body weight per week, or 1%. So it's pretty quick. It's a pretty quick fat loss. So yeah, I'm 80 kilo now, so it's 17 kilo down, and I only dropped my calories by 800 since I started my cut. But of course, it's about 2,000 when we compare to peak off season, compared to right now. It's 2,000, but from the start of my cut to right now, it's only 800 because I'm just losing pretty well. So that's good. For my program, so last week I did a deload because since the start of my cut, I didn't do any deload for 12 weeks. I just trained and did no deload because with my injury happening on my left knee for my cruciate injury, I had a few weeks off training quads only once a week and light weights, and I was like, I can't afford to deload because I'm already training, like my training is already very suboptimal, so I can't afford to deload. So I just pushed through, even though my body still needed a deload, but I still pushed through. And then last week, the week before last week, my performance the whole week was crap. Like I just had a massive drop in strength the whole week for every single training. And I was like, okay, it's time to do a deload. So I took 5 days off and I came back to the gym on Saturday. So now it's Tuesday, so I've done 3 days of training so far, and I'm going to train later on today. So yeah, that's what I've done with training. So as I said, I had a cruciate injury on my left knee, which is now 95% back to normal. So my injury itself feels much better, almost healed. Sometimes I can still feel it a bit, like I can still feel that something is not fully back to normal, but it's not painful anymore. It's nowhere near what it was because it was so painful before. But then both my knees just went very, very sore and painful. And I think it's just wear and tear. Just because I'm training for 10 years now, and I've been training really hard for 10 years. And I've been pretty strong since the very beginning. Like I've always been strong for a female, which is like, it's nice because it looks nice to put a lot of weights on the machines and stuff. But at the same time, it's a lot of stress and just tension, and yeah, just a lot of things for my joints to go through. So it's not really good for joint health at all, because of course heavy loads for 10 years, well, of course my joints are going to take a toll and I'm going to get some wear and tear. And yeah, I think that's the point where it hits me, because in the past never happened before. Like I never had any kind of joint pain, but yeah, it's just kicking my ass right now. So it's not great because it's really painful, and it prevents me from training quads properly and training quads like with my normal loads, because of course it's so painful that I have to reduce my loads to be able to go through it. So it's very suboptimal for my quads, which is really not great. I lost a lot of size and I hate that, but I have no other choice because I just can't put the loads I used to work with previously, because I just can't. It's just too painful, and I just can't do the movement because the pain is so bad. So at least now I'm wearing knee sleeves, which helps a lot. Definitely, it helps a lot. I'm taking BPC 157, TB 500. Of course, I have GH on board too. It's better, but it's still not back to normal. It's not great, and I'm not sure it will come back to normal at one point anyway, because it has been at least 6 to 8 weeks that my knees are painful, and I don't know. Like with that deload, with the 5 days off, my knees feel very fresh now. They feel so much better. I trained legs on Sunday, and well, I had only one leg press for the quads. Everything else was hamstrings and glutes, but I could train close to pain-free. I could feel my knees, but it was not painful. And after, I was not in pain compared to usually like I'm in pain after quads training. So fingers crossed, it should be all right from now on. So I guess we'll see how it goes. My goal is just to be able to train quads hard and like not be limited by my knees, or at least not that much. I was thinking about doing MRI scan for my knees, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's wear and tear. It feels like it's just very painful in my knee joint. It's not like tendons, it's not tendinitis, it's pain inside my knee joint. So, and it's both knees the same kind of soreness. So it's very, 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 very likely wear and tear. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend 700 pounds to just confirm it's wear and tear. Like, I don't have that kind of money to spend just to confirm something I already know. Like if it was still an acute injury, I would, but my acute injury with the cruciate is now almost completely healed. So it's really about just pain on both knees, which is like just, I think it's, yeah, just wear and tear. And I can't really afford just spending that much money just to say, yes, it did, it's wear and tear. You have barely no cartilage anymore. Well, yeah, but what can I do about that? Nothing. So I would just have to work around it for the next years and do my best with that and managing knee pain the best I can and hopefully still be able to grow my quads. But I guess I have to see how it goes with time and everything I have already in place for that to help with like healing and feeling better and stuff like that. So I will also show you like all my joint supplements that I started with, because previously, before my knees being painful, I had nothing for joints, like for joint health, instead of like in case of supplementation. So I will show you what I have now in place, because I think it definitely helps. But anyway, so I also changed my training program because previously I was doing 2 quads, so 2 quads training and 1 hamstrings and glutes, and now I'm doing 3 legs training. So I'm doing quads every single training, but only leg press, only the Arsenal leg press, and only Smith Bulgarian split squat. So only these 2 exercises for legs, for quads, because it's the only 2 that are not really painful or minimally painful, because all the other one like hack squat, pendulum squat, leg extension is the worst ever. This one is so painful for me now. So these ones are just not really the best, and they are painful compared to these 2. So I just changed my whole training program. So I'm only doing close to pain-free quads exercises, but I'm doing them just more frequently. So I'm doing a quads focus leg day. So like today I will do this one with Smith Bulgarian split squat and leg press. And then I'm doing hamstrings focus leg day on Friday with only like leg press for quads, but then it's all of the other exercises are for like hamstrings, of course, and glutes. So it's only 2 sets of leg press on that day. And then I'm doing a glute focus leg day on Sunday, and it's also only 2 sets of leg press, but unilateral this time. But anyway, still only leg press. So it's leg press every single leg day. Only the Arsenal one, because the other leg press hurt my knee. And I'm doing only 2 sets, except on quads focus, where I have also like Smith Bulgarian split squat, but no leg extension anymore, no hack squat, no pendulum squat. And hopefully my rationale behind it is like, it's a bit less quads per training. So hopefully less like less tension and less just weight on my joints, so that they are a bit better, and only with knee-friendly exercises. So hopefully I can build some strength on that and still like keep it close to pain-free and progress over the weeks and get stronger again and get get my quads back, get some muscle mass back. So hopefully it will work out this way. In theory it should, but we'll see how it goes in time. At least I remove the painful exercises, so hopefully my knees are going to feel a bit better and better and better, and I can also like train harder and harder and harder and get my strength and muscle back. So fingers crossed, because I'm pretty depressed right now because of that. So that's what I put in place. I still have zero cardio, so no cardio at all. I'm off any kind of anabolic since, well, it has been 15 weeks now. 15 weeks off, so I didn't get any like Primo or anything. So no anabolics, I'm only on TRT, so testosterone replacement, still the same dose in the beginning, 6 milligrams per week. I'm on GH every day, 3 units, injectable L-carnitine, 300 milligram, to help with fat loss. I have berberine in place, which I don't really have anymore because I finished it and there is no need anymore. Clenbuterol, of course, 80 micrograms per day. Yohimbine, I'm taking 5 milligrams per day. And for the knees, BPC 157, TB 500, 1 milligram each. And I have thyroid replacement also because I had a very short off season. So my thyroid didn't really have time to recover and then cutting again. So I'm still on thyroid replacement with 100 microgram T4 and 25 microgram T3. So I will show you my joint supplements. So for the joints, I have some collagen. So hydrolyzed beef collagen, which is the best form of collagen you can get. So I just bought it on Amazon, this one. So yeah, I'm taking 20 grams of collagen per day, and I think it definitely helps. I also started recently with glucosamine and chondroitin complex, which are found in cartilage. So it helps with cartilage health. It's not going to create more cartilage, but it helps just maintaining what's there. Like, it's very hard to grow cartilage back. Usually you can't really do it, like maybe a very small amount you can grow back, but if your cartilage is already very worn, you won't really get it fully back to normal. It's like you can do then some, I don't know, stem cell injections and stuff like that, but it's not going to be fully replaced anyway. But it's not going to harm bringing like molecules that are component of cartilage. So supplementing with that helps with cartilage health, at least not like preventing it from getting worse and worse and bring it so you can have a small degree of cartilage synthesis. So that and omega-3s, just for inflammation and in general. So yeah, that's my 3 joint supplements, and of course, as I said, BPC 157 and TB 500 that are injectables. So yeah, this one that I have in place, and I think it definitely helps. But if your cartilage is worn and if your meniscus are worn or completely broken, it's going to be very painful. That's going to cause pain because of like the bone rubbing on each other. So it's going to be very painful. And ultimately the only way not to be in pain anymore, because cartilage is not really going to grow to that extent, is knee replacement. So usually in this case, what they do is just like they cut through the bone and change the bone angle, so the angle between the tibia and femur, so it's not like rubbing between each other too much. So it kind of just changes the angle of your joint, so it's less contact in between the bones, so it's just a lot less pain, but it means very big surgery and very long recovery. So it's not something I'm going to do at least now. Hopefully never, but we never know. Maybe in 10 years I'll be completely fucked and I'll need knee replacement, but hopefully not. And also, now I'm doing still 10,000 steps per day. And yeah, sleep as much as I can. I'm off this week. I'm off work this week. Thank God, I really need a break. So I'm very happy that I'm off work. I can sleep as much as I want. I slept 11 hours last night, so I had a very good night's sleep. So that helps a lot. I feel much better. I feel human again. Because 7 hours for me is definitely not enough, but it's only what I can get when I'm working. So I'm very happy that I could sleep, and I'm going to really rest this week. So yeah, and also a very good thing is my periods are not regular, because of course with doing anabolic cycles, it suppresses your hormones, especially estradiol and stuff like that. So usually you lose a cycle or you're not as regular. It comes back, but when you do a cycle and the weeks after a cycle, it tends to crush a bit your estrogen and then, stop you from having normal periods and a cycle. So yeah, because I've been off anabolics for 15 weeks, which is a very long time, I have now back again regular period and cycle. So that's a very good thing. I think it's important for females to have periods back and have a good cycle in place, like cycle, I mean, with periods, not with anabolics, because it means you have a good balance with sex hormones and especially estrogen, which is very important for femininity. So making sure your estrogen is not crushed and that you have healthy amounts of estrogen and progesterone is going to help a lot with staying feminine when you're on PEDs. So yeah, that's about the whole recap so far. Something that I want to mention is I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling with my body image right now. It has been several weeks, but I think it's the worst I've ever seen myself. Like, I literally hate myself. I hate how I look. I feel like I look so small. I feel like I look the same as I looked 5 years ago. And I really can't handle my physique right now. I just hate my physique. Which is not the best, because of course, like, I'm working every single day to build muscle mass to get the best physique I can get. So hating myself is not really good, but I just can't help it. Like, every single time I'm looking at myself, I'm checking myself in the mirror, I'm like, I absolutely hate how I look. And I lost a lot of size on my quads, and I really love huge legs. I want absolutely massive legs. I absolutely adore massive legs. So the fact I lost quad size is really not helping with that. Of course, like, I just hate my legs, but I'm like, okay, I lost some size because of my knees preventing me from training quads the way I want and training quads like full power, because I just can't with my knees. So I have to kind of start from scratch again. So low loads and work my way up, hopefully close to pain-free, and regain some size and maybe grow. And yeah, that's the goal. But I have to start from scratch again, which is like, yeah, my quads are going to stay shit for a little while. But it's kind of like, okay, it's because of my knee, so I have a good like reason why. But the rest of my body, like my back, my shoulders, my glutes, my hamstrings, I don't have any injury there. And I can train them absolutely normally. I can train them to the full extent. And I still hate them. I still feel that they look really, really small. And it shouldn't be the case, because I spent 6 months in off-season, and looking at my off-season pictures, it really looked like I made a lot of progress. But now I'm looking at myself right now, being 14 weeks into a cut, and I'm like, I can't see the progress anymore. I can't see any progress at all. I feel like I look exactly the same as last year, and no progress has been made. And I look really, really small, to the point that I can't, well, it was really, really hot here. It was like 30 degrees. and 30 degrees in the UK is really hot, and in the gym you have no air conditioning whatsoever. So it was really boiling in the gym. So a few days I just put a tank top on because I was sweating, and I'm a very sweaty person, so I was sweating so bad, it was horrible. So a few days I was just wearing like a tank top. I felt, and shorts, but I felt so self-conscious. It was really, really tough. But it was just like, I was just sweating that much. It was really bad and really hard to train. But now that temperatures are a bit better, I'm definitely back to oversized t-shirts, so I don't have to think about how I look. And I was talking with Chloe yesterday at the gym, and she's wearing bras like almost all year round, and she looks incredible. She looks super, super good. Like she looks really, really good. But she was like, why are you covered like that? And I was like, well, because I feel so self-conscious. I feel so self-conscious because I feel I look so small, and I hate the way I look because I feel like I'm looking so small, and I'm still fat. So I just look skinny fat, and I hate it. So I can't even bear training like in a bra or something, because I would always think about how I look instead of focusing on my training. So this is why I'm covering up, because I'm like, I don't want to think about how I look when I'm training. So I'm really struggling with that at the moment. Like, friends of mine told me, like, you have really bad body dysmorphia. And I know that I have body dysmorphia, but I think we all have body dysmorphia to a degree. But I don't know, like, I'm really, really struggling this time around. Also, of course, being off anabolics, well, you're flat. You're really flat. Like, when I'm on Primo, yeah, I think I did only Primo so far. So I'm feeling I'm much fuller. So I have much more volume, like muscle volume. I just look bigger. I look full, and being off for 15 weeks and not having touched any kind of anabolics, I'm very, very flat. So I have no fullness whatsoever. My strength dropped a lot also with cutting, which is normal. It always does in a cut, but I can't even really help with that because I'm off anabolics, which are of course helping with maintaining strength. So yeah, I can't even really compare my physique right now to my physique last year, because last year I was prepping and I did 2 cycles during my prep, one in the middle and one at the end. But now I'm completely off. So I can't even compare my physique now, because my physique on and off cycle is very different. So yeah, my idea behind that is just, what's the point of exposing myself to side effects for no reason? Like, if I'm not competing, what's the point? There's absolutely no point, because my main goal is staying feminine as much as possible. Yes, it's going to be like a degree of side effects, of course. It's never completely free of side effects. You always have side effects and a degree of virilization. But my goal is to keep my voice as much as possible, and keep my features, keep my face, keep my hair. That's very important to me. So I'm not reckless at all with what I use and my exposure to anabolics. So yes, why I'm not touching anything for this cut, because it's only a regular cut. It's not a prep. So it's completely worthless to me to expose myself to side effects for no reason. Like, if I was competing, that's a fair enough reason, but I'm not competing, so absolutely not. So I can't wait to be back to a growth phase, to be in a calorie surplus, and to do a cycle so I can grow, because I just hate myself so much right now. And I want to be big. I want to be really big. I want to have a big and full upper body. I want to have a big full legs. That's the physique I like, and that's the physique I want for myself. And I feel like right now my physique is so far from what I want. It's really disheartening. So yeah, that's my recap. It was a pretty long one, but hopefully it was interesting, because I think it's nice to know like what other people do. So yeah, hopefully you found that interesting, and I'll see you very soon.